Well, today we've grabbed a Cadbury Screme egg. Look at that. It's a Screme egg. They're the, basic Cadbury cream eggs that come out at Easter. They're delicious. But it's a Screme egg. So what is a Screme egg, you ask? I do too. That's why I got it. So we can both find out at the same time. It's an egg. Ooh. Oh, it's green and spooky inside. It tastes good. It's the same thing as the Easter egg, but spooky. Okay. Yum, yum. Where was I? I've done a couple of the rooms at the. It was the 5th year of World of Terror. At the time, I did not know it was the last year that they had to do it. It's a whole little story on its own, I'll tell it. But apparently, they found reasons to want to keep doing it. And it became more scammy after this, but it was also the last year that it was going to be at the mall because the mall was getting demolished. We didn't know that. We found that out after. But and it had to be done because apparently this is all rumor, and I'm not going to name names, but a person was caught with drugs and money and stuff, and they got arrested. And they had a plea bargain. And part of the plea bargain was they had to do some sort of charity work where they gave money to help kids on drugs. And that's how this haunt got started. And it was a 5-year probation. This was the last year of the charity had to be in existence. And it was a global youth resource organization where they gave money for these kids. And that's what the whole house had to do. And who knows how much money was skimmed. I mean, I've worked multiple other haunts. There was another one in Pleasanton. The next year, I'll tell about, I know money was skimmed because I was paid for hours I didn't work because they liked me. It's kind of a lot of that going on. Anyways, this haunt, it was still, at this indoor mall. I had played every part in the house. Leatherface, Freddy, Norman Bates was a funny one because you were basically, the set was, this was a funny story, was the set, you walked in and there was a front desk type of thing at a motel. I had he had gotten old motel keychain type things. There's a whole board of these keychains with her room number, whatever it was the only one missing. And if you looked at the registry, it said, had all the names written in the last name, and it was all people who worked at the haunt, all the names. And he went around and had people sign the registry, but the last name was Marion Crane, which would be Janet Leigh in Psycho. And then someone convinced a guy like me who was new, but it wasn't me, thankfully, that they're supposed to go sign the registry because everyone else did. And he went and looked at it and saw all the people's names he knew, and so he signed it. And the guy who was making that room was so pissed. It was pretty funny because it was supposed to be, people signed it, which was the little inside Easter egg for us. The last name being Marion Crane, Janet Leigh. Of course, she'd be the last name because she was the only one staying in the motel at that time that she got murdered in Psycho. It was kind of funny because the guy felt so bad, and there was nothing that could be done about it. The book had already been nailed. It was a good prank on this guy because he just felt like crap for doing it. But Anyways, I had nothing to do with that one. I pulled pranks, but that wasn't mine. Um, this room was kind of an interesting one because eventually you went through an area where there was a shower curtain, but the sound effect in the room was a shower going. And my God, did you have to pee if you worked that room? But you'd pop out from behind the curtain, of course, with a woman's clothing on and a knife and blah, 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 at people. And then when you're waiting, you just sit there thinking about how badly you had to pee. Okay, anyways, main thing I'm getting at, this is my first time I ever got to do line work. I wanted to do line so bad. Line is the holy grail to actors, I think. To many actors. Some are afraid of it, and some couldn't handle it. I saw plenty that couldn't handle it. I remember one girl who was doing line, and someone kind of pushed her or something. They touched me. Oh my God, they touched. It's like, yes, in the house they don't touch you. You work line, you're in the crowd, you're getting pushed, you're getting shoved, you're getting all kinds of stuff, and it's just like it would be if you're in a crowd. I mean, you're in a crowd. It has nothing to do with, 99% of the things that happen to you are either your fault or a complete accident. It's very rare that someone's out to, harm you. Sure, I got punched in the face at least once a year, but never hard and never on purpose. It was always a reaction from someone throwing their hand out as I scared them, and 9 times out of 10, they'd throw their hand out, and the minute it hit my nose, they were pulling it back as I was moving away, because I saw it coming. And they were just, oh my God, I'm so sorry. They would break. I would not usually break character. I just wouldn't get mad either. I just acknowledged that it was an accident and it didn't hurt and kind of move on. Never, ever, ever did I get hurt. Anyways, but this, I wanted to do line. And line is a challenge. And line means you actually leave the house, go out where the line is to get into the house, and you entertain the crowd out there. And it's a whole different dynamic. You're not waiting in a little dark corner or somewhere waiting for someone so you can scare them. You've got to entertain them. And part of the job is that they're waiting sometimes over an hour, over 2 hours. I've seen lines that were 3-4 hours to get into a haunt that I was working. And so you want to keep the people entertained, for one. That was the main thing. Just keep them entertained. That's a long wait. You're just going to come once in a while walking by, do something, say something, whatever. And the other one, to a lesser degree, is, in a certain type of movie, there's a job called a fluffer that gets the performer ready so that they are ready to perform when the film is rolling. That's enough said about what that job is. I considered line a fluffer. You get the people scared so that when they enter the haunt, they're already on edge, they're already scared, making the actors inside the haunt have less work they have to really do. The people are already frightened, which is good. And then the third one is weeding out potential trouble. And that wasn't for everyone who worked the line. I certainly would not let any of the girls working the line do it, just some of the guys. And the idea was if someone really was causing trouble, you would push them a little bit. Not physically, you would just keep on that nerve and let them snap if they're going to snap. Because security was there. They didn't know where security was. I know where security was all the time. And if they're the type that's just too drunk, too stupid, too ignorant, and they're going to cause trouble, make them cause trouble. Most people didn't. Most people laughed and they didn't break. And the few that broke, they never got in the house. They never hurt anybody. And they never hurt me because they would swing at me and I would, step back. I was expecting it to happen. I could tell they're hitters. So you just, right as that arm starts to go, and they're usually pretty drunk. So it wasn't like, a great sudden punch. It was kind of a haymaker. But you just kind of step back, security, this guy does not get in. And that's it. And you stop potential trouble. That's a minor job, but it is something I always kept in my mind, that if I can keep out a problem from happening, I did something good. The main one was to entertain. Anyways, the first time I ever did line, God, I was awful. I was just horrid. Thought it would be great if I did Phantom of the Opera. And I did Phantom of the Opera a couple of years prior. It was really big on Broadway at the time. I had the half mask, and I made up some goofy makeup, and I wore that to a party and stuff, and people loved it. I thought, this is it. I'm going to do line. I'm going to do Phantom of the Opera. It's going to be a hit. And I didn't know what to do. I wore the half mask, and I would do the face reveal to people. I'd walk up to them and look them in the eyes and do a face reveal and pull the mask off. And someone kind of go, ooh. And that was it. I got no good reactions. It was such a stupid line character. It was horrible. I had no lines either. I mean, I didn't speak. About 50% of line actors opt not to speak. I opted not to speak quite a bit until I found my character and my voice for the line work. And that's going to happen in about a couple episodes of this. I didn't get there for quite a few years. So that was it. I walked the line. I'd look at people. I'd remove the mask. I walked the line. I'd look at people. I'd remove the mask. I was bad. My first time I was bad. Thankfully I'm not going to say I got great. People have said, God, should I even say what I've been told? I'm going to sound like I'm bragging, and I might be bragging, but people have told me I was a legend. By the end, when I became Daddy is a haunt legend, I'm told. Now, only within one haunt in a little area, but stories are still told about Daddy to this day from what I've been told. I was nowhere near that character at the time. I sucked. So now that haunt ended, I did it towards the end of the season. It was kind of a reward for really putting up with whatever they put me in. I did every single room, every single acting position, even mechanical ones, which were the worst, because you sat there with like Jurassic Park sounds like a fun scene. It's horrible. You've got a lever, and when the people come close enough, you pull the lever, the T-Rex lowers his head, the mouth opens, and a sound effect comes out of it, and a roar. I mean, the T-Rex looked fantastic. It looked real. But that's your job. You just sit on a chair and pull a lever every now and then. It really sucked. And I was really much more interactive. And I started getting more interactive that first year. And we're getting to and now it's about time for the second year, where I did 2 haunts in 1 year. And that's a story for another episode. Thanks, folks.